Hello everyone, welcome to One Card Wonder Wednesday for today, July 4th, 2018. I hope you're having a great day. I am having a fantastic day. I made a cute card using the Whisper White note card and envelopes. They measure 5 inches long by 3.5 wide, and the delightfully detailed laser cut specialty paper for background. And what's nice about this paper is one side of it is Whisper White, the other side is very vanilla, so you can use it with either of the Whisper White or very vanilla note cards. I'm just going to set this card aside and I will let you know we used the black satin ribbon, both the gold and silver mini sequin trim. I almost called it small sequin trim. And some of the white polka dot twill ribbon. I started with my note card and I divided up one sheet of the delightfully detailed laser cut specialty paper. You end up with 6 pieces that will fit, and they're all different designs. Like here's another one of the designs. So you get a variety on each page, and you get 4 sheets of that and then 4 sheets of the larger, which has just flowers all over the entire one. I have used that for some other cards before, so there were a couple pieces cut out of it. But the first thing I did is I flipped this over to the very vanilla side, and I used some of the Tombow liquid glue, and I just make a tiny, like barely a line of glue around the edge, just enough to hold the edges down. You can go through and you can put some glue on some of the other little pieces if you feel like you need to, but I didn't feel like I needed to with this card. I felt just going around the edges like this was enough. Now you got to kind of slide that off to be able to pick it up unless you want to get glue on your fingers. And then I lined it up at the bottom of my card. Stuck that down first and then just kind of let it fall and then just stuck it around the edges. Perfect. So now that I have that piece down, I want to take some of my ribbon pieces and get them ready. The white twill ribbon is about 6 inches long. Let me measure just to make sure, but yes, 6 inches long. And I folded it in half, and then I just made a knot in the middle just by wrapping it around my finger and pulling it through and just making a knot in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, just somewhere around the middle. And then I tightened it up. And then using a pair of scissors, I went ahead and just trimmed the one edge. So now you have 2 little pieces on each end. And then I used my glue dots. And I stuck it onto my glue dot here and just leave it for just a second until you get ready with your black ribbon, but that way that one's done. I took the black ribbon, the black satin, it's a 1/2 inch wide, and I just cut a little piece off from each corner to make a little tail. And I did them on the opposite. Sorry, my scissors had a little something sticky on them there. You know, so one's pointing this way and one's pointing that way. And then I took a small piece of tear tape. You don't need a lot of it. Everybody always tears theirs. I cut mine. I just kind of like that. Take your little piece of tearing tape and put it down. Stick it like in the middle of your card. And then just peel up the, once it's stuck down nice and tight, peel up that backing. And just use that little piece of tearing tape to stick your black piece of satin ribbon down. And now comes in your little twill ribbon. Just go ahead and pull that off. Probably need to use my paper piercer just to make sure I get it. And then I kind of stuck it so it's kind of side or up and down, but a little bit on a diagonal toward the left end, just so you have a little bit of detail there. I also use the Pretty Label punch, which is this punch. I'm going to turn it just to make sure you get to see the shape of it. And I used some of the Broadway Designer Series paper that has this little confetti print on it. And I'm going to go ahead and put a small dimensional on each end and one in the center. You could use larger ones if you want to, but it's just not necessary for this project. I'm just going to leave that waiting for now. I have a couple pieces of the sequin trim cut, and this is where your glue dots come in again because they work fantastic with this sequin trim. So I just cut a couple of pieces. These are about 2.5 inches, one in gold and one in silver. And you will lose a little sequin here and there. Don't worry about it. You're still going to have plenty left on your strand. And I just cut a little piece, fold it in half and stick it to your glue dot, and then just stick it on your black ribbon. It doesn't matter where, it's just kind of a random placement, and you can make them a little uneven if you like, so they're not exactly, each tail is not exactly the same length. Whoops, didn't quite get that stuck down before I let go of it. And like I said, these glue dots work fantastic for the sequin trim. And now this one, I'm going to stick just under the edge of that white, just so it pops out like that. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I've got small pieces, probably about 2 inches, a little bit shorter. And I just loop it around to make a little loop. I'm going to loop it to make a loop. That makes sense. And then I'll do the same, stick it right to your glue dot, and then I have a piece of gold that I'm going to do the same with. I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to stick it to my glue dot, make my little loop, and then I take the gold one and I stick it on this end with the silver one. I should have hooked it from the a little bit other direction, but that's okay. I'm just going to stick it on this end, and then I'll put the silver one up near the gold. And like I said, they don't have to be perfect, just as long as you get them stuck on there, they're good. I'm going to shake off a couple of those extra sequins just to get them off there for now. And then I took this little cutout with the confetti on the other side, and I stick one end of it on this side of that knot, just so it kind of helps make it center. And they just all stick directly to the ribbon, and they stick just fine with those dimensionals. And I cut a piece of Whisper white cardstock up just a little under 1/2 inch thick. And then I took a sentiment from the Jar of Love stamp set, the one that says throw kindness around like confetti, because it reminds me of this stamp, this paper, because it looks like confetti. And I'm just gonna stamp that with, I have a little bit of a glue dot stuck to my finger here. I was wondering why I was sticking to everything. I'm gonna stamp that on the piece of Whisper White using Memento. And I didn't cut it the exact length that I needed it because I knew I was just gonna trim it anyway. So once you get this, I'm just gonna trim off on this end, and then I'm gonna trim it by hand and make a little banner tail on the ends of it. Get that little piece out of the way because we do not need that little piece. And it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you get your little banner tail. And then I went ahead and stuck a couple of the mini dimensionals onto the ends of that as well. Go ahead and peel the backing off from those. And now with this, the dimensional that is on the right hand side, I took one more dimensional and made it thicker. And the reason I made it thicker on that end is because I'm going to take this and it's going to come off from here, and since this is already dimensionaled up, you got one more dimensional, this end's going to need 2 dimensionals to make it the same height on your card, because you don't want it to be falling off the card unless that's the look you're going for, and that just wasn't the look I was going for with this card. Then I took some of these gold and silver metallic pearls that are in the catalog this year. I just love them. And I just placed them in random places around the card. I did probably 4 of each, maybe 5. Just depends on where you want to put them. I did put a couple directly on that confetti paper just to give that a little bit of dimension as well. And a little more bling, even though it is pretty blingy already with the gold foil print that's on it. I'm going to put a couple of the silver ones around the card. And maybe I'll stick one of these silver ones directly on the end of this banner. I just think just throwing these around in random places on the card just gives it just that little extra pop. And you could use a different sentiment with this card. I mean, this would make a great anniversary card, wedding card, anything like that, just with a different sentiment like best wishes or congratulations on your wedding day or anything like that. And there you have it. That's today's One Card Wonder Wednesday. Just fold it over, use your bone folder. I hope you enjoyed today's card. You can see how they, obviously very similar because you use the same elements. The only thing that's different is the specialty cut detailed designer series laser paper that's on the back, just a different pattern for each one. But they are adorable, super easy to make, and you get to add some bling to it, which is always fun. So I hope you enjoyed today's One Card Wonder Wednesday. There are lots of specials going on this month with Stampin' Up! The first one being, if you join for $99, you get $125 worth of product out of the catalog, and you also get 10 ink pads, 10 of the ink pads. So you could get a family of ink pads. You could get the Regals, the Brights, the Subtles, or the Neutrals. Or you can get the 2017 to 2019 in colors along with the 2018 to 2020 in colors as a color family. So it is a fantastic deal. If you price those separately, they're $7.50 a piece, so that's a $75 deal. Also, designer series paper. There are select designer series paper on sale. Buy 3, get 1 free this month. So go check out valeriesmith.stampinup.net. See if there's anything you like. If you want to join my team, I would love to have you. And you will get a lot of product for your $99 if you join during the month of July. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have a good one, and I will see you next week.